Mountains, Earth's dramatic reminder of our planet's volatile geographic history. In Oregon, during the winter, Union Pacific Railroad must overcome not only the sharp curves and steep continuous grades, but the elevation that brings with it white walls of snow and ice. To fight against these relentless enemies, specialized snow fighting machinery is deployed. We're currently in the cab of Chicago and Northwestern 11983, a 1975-built Jordan spreader which spent most of its life in the Midwest. Hydraulic deployable wings on either side move a lot of the white stuff off of the right-of-way. These are able to move up and down to contour to the shape of the ballast road bed. Today we're one of two spreader crews working on the mountain, the other one being south ahead of us. As much snow as these spreaders can move at once, sometimes one pass just isn't enough.
We're ready up here. We're going to make a backup move and go through that little section again.
Unlike the other two Jordan spreaders employed on the Cascade sub, this one has no engineer control stand, so the engineer receives commands via radio from the cab of the spreader. At times, weather can make it a challenge to see where you are, so it's important to be familiar with where the signals, bungalows, detectors, and switch stands are so the train can stop before plowing through them. Fortunately, our plowing speed today is about 3 miles per hour. Somewhere in the swirling white distance, detector at milepole 541.8 is approaching, and I need to stop the train ahead of it so the spreader arms can be squeezed in to pass by without damaging it.
I'm going to give you 10 cars worth trading.
10 cars worth trading.
Stay on the rail. Oh my gosh.
The tracks can be overwhelmed by snow encroaching from the embankment, so a bulldozer shoved the bank of snow to the right onto the right-of-way for us to push further to the left. But the amount piled up will certainly test the limits of this machine.
Alright, we are around past that signal box there where the dragger's at, north of tunnel 3, working north or whatever. Copy, past the dragger box working north.
When the piles of snow being pushed by the arms become too great, or one arm has more resistance than the other, the danger of derailment increases. However, the crews are familiar and adept at re-railing spreaders, though it isn't fun or easy, so the operators must be vigilant to avoid those situations. A couple years ago, and on a much calmer day, spreader 4033 can be seen clearing the right-of-way near Cascade Summit. Starting its career with Southern Pacific, 4033 has been moving snow for over half a century. Union Pacific rebuilt this spreader in the summer of 2012. Spreaders keep drifts off the right-of-way, far enough to provide access to any train experiencing problems. Crewmen can then provide service to replace broken knuckles or simply walk along the train to secure handbrakes on the mountain grade if necessary.
to milepost 579.77. Main track, is that correct? Over.
And it's all done to keep the trains rolling through Cascade Summit.
All right.
Another winter issue can be ice buildup on the tunnel walls. These ice columns can fall on the track, potentially knocking air hoses loose. Visually, though, sometimes I feel like I'm in a Wampa ice creature cave, like in The Empire Strikes Back. If in the winter battle, to keep the railroad open, we liken the spreaders to tanks, then the flangers certainly are the fighter jets. With their speed being permitted 5 miles per hour over track speed, they move the snow that's between the rails quickly and dramatically. Another major difference is that this plow is pulled, not pushed, with a blade that is lowered via an operator on the locomotive with controls connected by the cable visible on the handrail. The importance of lifting the blade at the right time can't be overstated. As indicated by its name, flanger, the blade lowers into the area of track the flanges dip into, so any crossings, dragging detector boards, and switch rails would be hit by this blade if the operator isn't keen on his targets. Here at Cruzette, Amtrak 14 Coast Starlight glides north toward Seattle on the main line.
Amtrak 14, highball, you're rolling Cruzette, over.
Far away from the highway and the hazards of winter highway driving, the snow can create a mesmerizing landscape which can only be freely appreciated when guided by steel rails below. In February of 2019, a severe winter storm hit the state that closed all rail traffic for 2 days and left Oak Ridge and other rural towns without power for weeks. We're at the south signal of Cruzette, where the first of 2 spreaders is arriving to have crew changes. I will be relieving the brakeman on the second one. Round-the-clock spreaders were dispatched to reopen the pass, with 2 recently refurbished spreaders. Speaking of refurbished, 7 miles out of Klamath Falls, I found this old snow-fighting beast resting by the trail that once was the Weyerhaeuser-owned Oregon, California, and Eastern Railway. It's very cool to see this history preserved, but I'm grateful for the modern equipment I get to use today. Though my hours of service are up in 12 hours, the maintenance of way crews that join us can be working on these for days on end, which is why you can sometimes find company refurbished coaches attached to these trains, fully equipped with a kitchen and beds. I'm proud and blessed to be able to be a part of the railroad saga which continues, widely unknown, behind a coniferous veil and the snowy swale of the Cascades.